Love series. On today's episode, I have Dr. Nealy.
Hey.
We go way back to Hampton University. We were college roommates, soul sisters, besties. I just want everyone to know how great you are, That's really what I want the world to know. And I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for allowing me to come to your
I
house.
Like,
I'm like, thank you,
No, but thank you for even, wanting to interview me.
Yes, no, because
what I love.
I think your story is so inspiring because you never let anything stop you or hold you back, and that means you always just bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to describe you is you always bounce back and you continue to push forward. And I really want the people to know your mindset because I think that's so important for people to understand.
Well, in short, my mindset is that adversity builds character.
Mm-hmm.
Grit. If you don't have a story of having to overcome something,
mm-hmm.
then you don't know what your potential is. You don't know what your possibilities are as a person, right? You don't know what you're limiting yourself. You're limitless, and you don't know what your bounds are if they're not tested. So, just in various ways in my life, there's been rejection, failure. Delayed gratification, delayed praise, all of that. But like you said, just never giving up, just being determined. I've always seemed to have pushed through so far. Yeah.
So what advice would you give other people, struggling in that situation?
I am a firm believer that things will work out the way they're meant to be. So
yes.
In one way, it's I'm determined, but I think the better thing is how to know when to stop trying and when to not give up, and that's a really hard distinction to make because in one way we're told keep fighting, never give up.
Yes.
And for example, I initially wanted to go into the physical therapy field, and I starting at Hampton, I had that part-time job working at a physical therapy office. Yes. I was getting on my hours and what do you call them, your observation hours.
Yes.
And so that was the route I wanted to go. And so you had to take the GRE. I was getting these subpar scores, but I had you have to get letters of recommendations, so many observation hours. So I'm doing all the things that I need to do to try to apply to physical therapy school.
Right.
And I had been denied from maybe 4 schools, and then I got into one school, but it was really not a good school. And I was I don't even want to do this if I'm going to get the bottom of the barrel. So there was a point in time there when I had an opportunity to work as a chiropractic aide or as a physical therapy aide. So this is after we've graduated from college. It's 2013. All my observation at that point had been with physical therapy. So I was let me give chiropractic a try. Let me work in the chiropractic field because I don't know what it's really about. And that was a pivotal moment for me because what I kind of determined was I can do a little bit, I can incorporate physical therapy into chiropractic, and then also do manipulations, which is the popping and cracking of joints.
Yeah.
And that was a moment where I was maybe I'm trying to force physical therapy. I've done everything that I possibly can. And it's just not working out, but here's something else that I really enjoy. And that was, that was a pivotal moment of when I decided to pivot, right? I could have just kept trying with PT and maybe it would have worked out. But what I've discovered is within the chiropractic profession, I love it. And again, my belief is that at the end of the day, everything works out how it's supposed to.
Yes.
And if I hadn't gotten rejected from physical therapy school, in retrospect, I don't think I would have enjoyed the job, the profession. It's just not my speed. I think it's great, but chiropractic worked out because that's what I think God intended. That's what was intended for me. And so
I want people to understand the difference. I feel people hold themselves back if they dwell and knowing the difference of okay, this might not be for me, right? And to be able to, like you said, pivot and be able to okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna continue. And that's they dwell in that situation and they're oh, what
dwell
if?
on failure or rejection.
And fear as well. Yeah. And that's when people become stagnant.
Absolutely.
In all areas of life.
And I think you're absolutely right because at some point everybody is going to face some type of failure or rejection or denial, but I mean, that's a larger question I don't have the answer to. What's the difference
Right.
between those who push through that adversity, push through the failure, and those, to your point, who like dwell and like can fall into a depression and like really, you know, really like end up in a different space?
Right.
I mean, for me, it was my mom. Like, she's, you know, very positive and she's very determined, and I've seen that in various ways. And at one point, when I almost wanted to quit chiropractic school because I did fail anatomy in my first trimester, I call home like, this isn't for me. Like, okay, what's the next thing? So that was me trying to pivot too fast, and she's like, wait.
Wait a minute.
No, you're gonna like, I didn't raise any quitters,
Right.
so you're gonna actually like put your head in the books, cut out the social life, like get serious, get tutors, exhaust your resources,
right,
and then you're gonna try it again,
right.
And then at that point, like if you see a pattern of failure, then it's like, okay, maybe this isn't for me, right?
Let's talk about like being a woman of color in your industry.
3% of chiropractors are black. That's the last stat that I heard, and that was maybe 5-6 years ago. Then further, like as being a black woman in the chiropractic field, it was like 1.3%. So I didn't really notice like, oh, there's like no black chiropractors, because there were a few black chiropractors, Arab chiropractors, and then like white and everything in between, which was really cool.
Right.
So it didn't really cross my mind until I moved into a more predominantly white suburban area, and it still was relatively diverse, but as far as like my coworkers, I was the only black person in the whole company, which was about 24 people. And so I was just like, oh wow. And again, everyone was really nice and respectful, so it wasn't an issue. But it wasn't until my current role, which now is, you know, in the South Loop of Chicago, which is a very diverse neighborhood and area, I have so many more like just black patients who, time after time after time, they always mention like, I've never had a black chiropractor before, or I've never seen a black chiropractor before. And some who've even said they specifically chose me because I was a black female chiropractor, and they just felt that they, you know, we can identify or relate, or I would be, you know, more empathetic, or various reasons. But at the end of the day, it just goes to show that like the representation matters.
So my last and final question is, do you love what you do?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I get to help people feel better without the use of medication or surgeries. I get to meet really interesting people. And most importantly, I don't have to be relegated to a cubicle all day. So, love it.
Thank you so much for letting me be here with you and be able to talk about your journey. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Thanks, y'all.